Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Lukman Hakim bin Naim and my matrix number is 12154. We are from group 7.
So today our group will be talking about the diversity of the Adisozoans. Adisozoans are protostome and include roundworms and arthropods. They are not the major group of animals, which contains the largest number of species. Adisozoans construct an outer covering called the cuticle, which protect and support the animal, and is periodically shred to allow growth. Many adisozoans have evolved separate sexes, which come together and copulate to deliver sperm into the female body, or to deliver direct fertilized eggs as they are released. So this is the picture of roundworms, and this is one of the picture of arthropods. So roundworms. Roundworms are non-segmental worms that are prevalent in almost any environment. Nematodes have been characterized as the most numerous multicellular organism on Earth, mainly because they are so abundant in soil. Internal organs, including the tubular reproductive organs, lie within pseudopocollium. A pseudopocollium is a body cavity that is incompletely lined by mesoderm. In other words, mesoderm occurs inside the body wall but not around the digestive gut cavity, which is guts. Although many nematodes are free-living, although others are important parasites of plants and animals. Canohabitys elegans have been used intensively as a model animal to study genetic and developmental biology. Parasite roundworms. Ascaris species can infect domestic animals and a number of other vertebrates. Ascaris male tend to be smaller, which is 15 to 31 centimeters long, than females, which is 20 to 49 centimeters long. A female Ascaris produces over 200,000 eggs daily. The eggs are eliminated with the host feces and can remain viable in soil for many months. Eggs can enter the human body via uncooked vegetables, salt fungi, and ingested fecal material, and hatch in the intestine. So this is the male, and this is the female. The symptoms of an Ascaris infection. So the larva Ascaris in the lung can cause coughing or bloody sputum, and the intestine Ascaris can cause malnutrition or the blockage of the bile and pancreatic duct and poor health. So trichinosis. Trichinosis caused by the nematode Trichinella spiralis is a serious infection that humans can contract when they eat rare pork containing encycled Trichinella larvae. After maturation, female adult burrow into the wall of the small intestine and produces lining and living offspring. So heavy infection can be painful and lethal. So this is the Trichinella and this is the Trichinella larva. Filarial worm. Filarial worm cause various diseases. For example, mosquitoes transmit the larva of a parasitic worm to dog. The infection is called heartworm disease. The condition can be fatal. Therefore, heartworm medicine is recommended as a prevention measure for all dogs. So the maturing larva carrying mosquito infects to the dog, and an infected dog serves as a host to other mosquitoes. So elephantiasis. Elephantiasis is a disease of human. Sorry. Elephantiasis is a disease of human caused by another filarial worm, which is Wuchereria benthrophti. This parasite uses mosquitoes as a vector to transmit the disease to humans. Adult female worm reside in lymphatic vessels. The removal of lymph fluid is impeded, and the limbs may swell to a monstrous size, resulting in elephantiasis. Elephantiasis is treatable, and elephantiasis is treatable in its early stage, but usually not after scar tissue has blocked lymphatic vessels. So this is the Wuchereria benthrophti. So pinworms. Pinworms are common nematodes that mostly occurs in children. The adult parasites live in cecum and large intestine. The female migrate to the anal region at night and lay their eggs. Scratching the resultant itch can contaminate hands, clothes, and bedding. The eggs are swallowed and the life cycle begins again. So that's all from me.
Hello everyone, my name is Nazifa Akmal binti Maisairuzi and my matrix number is AS11871, and today I'm gonna drag you guys into the world of arthropods. So, arthropods came from arthron, which means joint, and podos, that means foot. These arthropods are a very large group of protostomes that have exoskeleton and jointed appendages, like right here. And these arthropods are includes insects, crustaceans, this is the baby crabs right here, millipedes, centipedes, spiders, and scorpions. So the characteristic of arthropods is exoskeleton, segmentation, nervous system, variety of respiratory organ, and metamorphosis. And we will go through it one by one, and I will explain more detail about each of the characteristics. So the first characteristic that we're going to cover is exoskeleton. What is exoskeleton? Exoskeleton is composed primarily chitin, which is a strong, flexible, nitrogenous polysaccharide, and this exoskeleton have a lot of functions, and some of it is to protect the arthropod itself, and attachment for muscles, locomotion, and prevention of desiccation. And this exoskeleton is hard and non-expandable. So in order to arthropods to grow up larger, so they need to do the molting process like what the hermit crab do right here. The new Before molting, the body of the hermit crab here will secrete a new larger exoskeleton that is soft and wrinkled. And after the enzymes partially dissolve, and weaken the old skeleton, this hermit crab right here will break it open and wriggle it out. So this is the old hard exoskeleton, and this is the new, the soft one. Okay, so this is the composition of the exoskeleton. This the lowest part in the middle of the epidermis and tegmental is the basement membrane, and this is the tegmental gland. And to right here we have seta and an opening to a tegmental gland right here. The lower part of the epicuticle is exocuticle, and the thick layer right here is endocuticle. So next is to the segmentation. Segmentation is readily apparent because each of the segment has a pair of jointed appendages, like right here. Even though the certain segments are fused into head, thorax, or abdomen, the jointed appendages are basically hollow tubes that move by the muscles. So this is the flexor muscle, and this is the hollow tube, as I mentioned before, and is the one part of the jointed appendages. These are jointed appendages adapted for particular functions such as food gathering, reproduction, locomotion, and also for tactile purposes. So next is nervous system. So arthropods have a brain and a ventral nerve cord. And there's a typo right here. And the head itself has various types of sense organ that contribute to well-developed touch, smell, taste, balance, and hearing. And arthropods also display a lot of complex behaviors and method of communication. And we will focus on sight. So arthropods have two types of eyes. One is a compound eyes, you can see right here, and another one is the simple eyes. The three dot right here. This is the simple eyes. So compound eyes um, composed of many complete visual units, and each of which operates independently. So each of these lens focus an image on the light-sensitive membranes of a small number of photoreceptors within that unit. So this is the lens of the compound eyes. Mm, This thing right here that looks like a rope is rabbit dung, and this is the pygmosal, is the photoreceptors, and the optic nerve that uh, come together with the ventral nervous system, and this is the cornea, the lens. And the simple eyes has a single lens that brings an image to focus on many receptors. So, for the organ, the respiratory organ, each of form have a different respiratory organ, such as in a marine form. It will have the marine form will have gills. This for gas exchange, and terrestrial form have a book, lungs, or trachea. So the gills right here, this is the gills of the crab, and this right here is for the trachea, the respiratory organ for the cockroach. So and each of these is to for the gas action and will give oxygen to the cells. So the last characteristic of arthropods is metamorphosis, and each arthropods will undergo drastic change in form and physiology that occurs and immature stage like the eggs to the adult stage like this adult ladybug, and then the the adult ladybug will make love and lay eggs, and then it will become larva and then pupa and then adult, and the cycle goes on. And from these different uh, stages have will need a different food for the larva, and the adult will need a different food, and these different stages also lives in different environment. Just like this graph right here, as you if you still remember this, the graph for the growth of uh, an insect, and each of these stars like is this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 Roman right here is we call nymph, and in the nymph stages of an grasshopper from the egg. It will form an baby grasshopper, and then it will molt and leave the old exoskeleton, and the cycle goes on and on. And why this part is parallel to the y-axis right here is because once they molt that produce the new exoskeleton, they need to eat and eat and eat for a day so that they can grow up larger. This drastic change is we call it as metamorphosis. So let's take a look of one of the representative of arthropods, which is crustaceans. Where does crustacean get their name? Crustacean is derived from their hard, crusty exoskeleton that contain calcium carbonate as an addition to the typical chitin. Although crustaceans are extremely diverse, but the head usually bears with a pair of compound eyes, just like what the characteristic of arthropods that I have explained before, and have 5 pairs of appendages. In the first 2 pairs of appendages is called anta- antenna and antennae that lie in front of the mouth and have sensory function. The other 3 pairs, which is mandibles and first and second maxillae, is lie behind the mouth and are mouth parts to use in feeding. By most, the appendages is on the thorax and abdomen are segmentally arranged, which is one branch is the gill branch and the other one is the leg branch. And majority of crustaceans is live in marine and aquatic environments. One of it is decapods, which is the most familiar, like the shrimp, lobster, hermit crab right here, and they are the numerous crustaceans. And next is copepods. They are really tiny. They are as uh, similar to plankton, but they are under the phylum of Arthropoda, and they can be found in saltwater and freshwater. Since they are one of the they live with the plankton, and as small as the plankton, they are they become the food source for the fish, sharks, and whales. Next is barnacles, and this picture is one of the types of the copepods. Barnacles is a sessile crustaceans, and they they mature when and they change major the major change after the metamorphosis. When the younger stages they can freely swim, and once they undergo the metamorphosis they transform into like this shape. So there's a bit different of the physical appearance. So you can see the barnacles on the seaside rock when the low tide and high tide is happening. You can see these types of barnacles, and this is the gooseneck barnacles. This is the last one that I will explain, which is the typical crustaceans crayfish. So this is the anatomy of the crayfish. The head and thorax are fused into a cephalothorax, which means that came from a cephal, that means head, and thorax, that means breastplate, that is covered on the top and side of the non-segmented carapace. The abdominal segments are equipped with swimmerets, small paddle-like structure, and the first two pair of the swimmerets in the male, known as clasper, and this clasper is quite strong too because it is needed to pass the sperm to the female. And the last two segments were the uropods and tarsen, which make up a fan-shaped tails right here. And these help the crayfish to swim rapidly. And these crayfish also use the heavy abdominal muscles and the tail that I mentioned before. And for to in order to get to feed himself, this crayfish will wait for the prey and will catch that and leaving small animals or fish with this pincher-like claw. So this is the abdomen, this is the antenna that have the sensory nerve, and this carapace will protect the gills, and we all know that the gills contributes to the respiratory system in exchange the uh, oxygen gas, the gas changes. I mean, and the digestive system of the crayfish is it has a stomach, and the stomach is divided into two main regions, which is the anterior portion that equipped with chitinous teeth to bring the coarse food, and posterior portion that that acts as a filter to prevent the coarse particles to enter the digestive glands right here where the absorption of nutrient take place. And the green gland right here is the anterior to the esophagus that excrete metabolic waste through the duct and that open externally at the base of the antenna. The column, which is well developed in annelids, is reduced in arthropods and is composed chiefly to the space about the reproductive system. And the circulatory system, the heart pumps the hemolymph into the homuncle so that uh, it can get the oxygen, and this is an open circulatory system because blood is not contained within blood vessels. And the nervous system, like the other arthropod, it have a brain and ventral nerve cord. Ventral and predic ganglia give off lateral nerve. Sensory organ like eyes, the compound eyes, are well developed, and compound eyes are on the ends of movable eye stalk. These eyes are accurate and can detect motion and respond to polarized light. And other sensory organs include tactile antenna and chemosensitive setae. Crayfish also have cetoses that act as organs of equilibrium. And the last one is the reproductive system. In male, the skull sperm duct opens to the outside so that the sperm can go out. And like what I have said in the slide before, the graspers right here will pass the sperms that is produced by the testes uh, to the female, and once the sperm is transferred to the female, and female has an open ovaries open at the base of the third walking legs. A stiff hole between the bases of the fourth and fifth pair serves as a seminal receptacle. Following fertilization, the eggs are attached to the swimmerates of the female, and young hatchlings are miniature adults, and, and no metamorphosis occurs for these baby crayfish because this is they can grow bigger with the exoskeleton. And so that's all from me, and I will give next presentation to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nuri Shahira binti Muhammad Helmi. My matrix number is AS11863. So today I will be presenting on the topic which is centipedes and millipedes and invertebrate deuterostomes. Hi, I will continue to present about centipedes and millipedes. Centipedes. This is the centipedes. This is the structure of the centipede. The centipede is known as 100 liquids because it has 100 legs. Each of the many body segments has a pair of walking legs. It means that each of these body segments has a pair of legs, which is one at the right side and then one at the left side. Approximately 3,000 species are preferred to live in moist environments, such as under logs, in crevices, and in leaf litter. The centipedes are active predators on worms, small crustaceans, and insects. The head of the centipedes are includes pair antennae and jaw-like mandibles. This is the antenna, the pair of antennae. The appendage on the first trunk segment are claw-like, which is the venomous jaws or poisonous jaws. This is the poisonous jaws. The next is millipede. This is the millipede, and then this is the structure of the millipede. Millipede is also known as thousand-leggers because it has 1,000 legs. Each of four thoracic segments has a pair of walking legs. It means that the first four segments, 1, 2, 3, 4, has a pair of legs. There is one at the right side and one at the left side. While the abdominal segments have two pair of legs. The abdominal segment is the segment from the feet until the legs. The step from here, it has two pair of legs, which is one pair at the right side and the one pair at the left side. The millipedes live under stones or burrow in the soil as they feed on leaf litter. Their cylindrical bodies have a tough, chitinous exoskeleton. Some of the millipedes secrete hydrogen cyanide, which is a poisonous substance. It is the fun fact about millipedes. These millipedes only can found in California. These millipedes in genus of Moltixia called like to share this beta. The luminescence is generated by a biochemical process in the millipid's exoskeleton. The luminescence is to warn predators of something a little more severe, such as poison in the form of cyanide. Okay, the luminescence light is also initially evolved to cope with metabolic stress triggered by a hot and dry environment. The brighter the glow of the luminescence, the larger the cyanide glands and the more toxic the millipedes. So this is the reference, and yeah, that's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Clarissa Clara Fusian. My metric number is AS12081.
I'd like to welcome all of you today. Today, I'd like to share with all of you about the insects. I personally don't like insects and sure everyone also have the same thought. Now, let's get started and discover more about the insects. The insect body divided into three parts: a head, thorax, and abdomen. The first part is head, consists of eyes, is the sense organs. Next is antenna, is used for smelling or feeling. Finally, mouth parts for chewing or sucking. The next part of insect body is thorax. It is the mid-section of the insect body that holds the legs and wings. Insects have 3 pairs of legs. Insects also have 1 or 2 pairs of wings. The function of wing is to escape enemies, finding food, facilitating mating, and dispersing offspring. For your information, the insects that have 0 wings are ants, mites. The insects that have 1 pair of wings are bugs and flies. Finally, the insects that have 2 pairs of wings are bees and wasps. The thorax composed of 3 body segments, which is prothorax, mesothorax, and metathorax. Finally, the insect body last part is abdomen. The other name for abdomen is opistosoma. It is the posterior-most of the segments. It contains the reproductive organs, respiratory organs, digestive organs, excretory organs. This part in this picture is abdomen. Many insects, such as butterflies, undergo complete metamorphosis. What is metamorphosis? Metamorphosis in insects is the biological process of development of insects must undergo. There are 2 forms of metamorphosis, which is incomplete metamorphosis and complete metamorphosis. In this picture, we can see the butterfly undergo complete metamorphosis. Stage 1, butterfly lays an egg. Stage 2, the egg hatches and becomes a caterpillar. Stage 3, the caterpillar eats leaves and grows bigger. Stage 4, the caterpillar becomes a cocoon. Stage 5. The butterfly starts to emerge from the cocoon. Finally, stage 6. A butterfly appears and the cycle completes. The next one, I would like to discuss about a typical insect, grasshopper. The grasshopper has 3 pairs of legs and 2 pairs of wings. The grasshopper also have 4 wings, are tough and leathery, folded back to protect thin hindwings. The grasshopper also have a large tympanum for the reception of sound waves. In the female, has an ovipositor used to dig a hole in which eggs are laid. The digestive system is divided into 3 main sections: the foregut, midgut, and hindgut. The foregut is comprised of the mouth for ingesting food, the pharynx and esophagus for transporting food, and the crop where the food is stored to digestion and absorption. Gastric juice is very important in digestive system because it is to secrete enzymes so that the nutrient can be absorbed in the hemocoel. For excretory system, Malpighian tubules which extend into a hemocoel and collect nitrogenous waste. Then, the waste flows by osmosis and active transport. Nitrogenous waste discharged in the form of uric acid to conserve water. For your information, unabsorbed food particles pass into the hindgut. Then, Malpighian tubules filter the hemolymph and collect nitrogenous waste. Some special cells in the rectum reabsorb water salts. For respiratory system, air enters through a tiny hole known as spiracles. This is the spiracles. The spiracle carry oxygen to the body cells. Spiracles opens and attached to a network. Air enters the spiracle. The oxygen diffuses along the tracheal tubes to the cell. Tracheal system facilitates gas exchange. The movement of the air through tubules is not a passive process because air is pumped through by a series of bladder-like structures, air sacs, attached to the trachea near the spiracle. The last one system is circulatory system. We know that circulatory system is to transport essential metabolites from the fat body to cells. Next one, to carry waste for the excretory system and provide immunity. The circulatory system contains a slender tubular heart which lies against the dorsal wall of the abdominal exoskeleton and pumps hemolymph into the hemocoel. In this picture, It has dorsal vessel divided into a posterior heart, contains ostia, which is opening in heart, and arterial aorta. Open space of the body called hemocoel that fill with insect blood called hemolymph. Hemolymph does not contain hemoglobin to transport oxygen. Hemolymph also lack the red color. Hemolymph pumped forward by the heart through the aorta into the head and flows back into the hemocoel. Hemolymph re-enters the posterior heart through ostia and the cycle repeats. Now we move to chelicerates. The chelicerates live in terrestrial, aquatic and marine environments. The first pair of appendage is the pincer-like chelicerate, used in feeding and defense. The second pair is the pedipalps, is used by male spider to transfer sperm to female spider. A cephalothorax, which is fused head and thorax, and abdomen that contains internal organs. Example of chelicerate is spider, scorpion and horseshoe crabs. The appendage is external body parts or would be vertebrate limbs. Pincer-like often have claws or fangs to capture prey, produce sounds and silk. For horseshoe crab, the body is covered by exoskeletal shield. The next picture is scorpions. Scorpions spend most of the day hidden under a log or a rock. Their pedipalps are large pincers, and their long abdomen ends with a stinger which contains venom. The spider do not have compound eyes, but they have numerous simple eyes, fangs, with ducts from poison glands, and the pedipalps are used to hold taste and chew food. The abdomen contains silk glands, and spiders spin a web in which to trap their prey. For additional information, the horseshoe crab is living fossils because they have lived more than 450 million years and does not extinct even though an asteroid impact that killed the dinosaur. During the manufacturing of something that could go into the human body, it is used to monitor for contamination, which is any injection, every IV infusion, and every implanted medical device. The blue color comes from copper in the blood and it contains clotting agents. That's all from me, thank you. Next, I will pass to the next presenter.
So I will continue to presenting on topic 28.5, which is invertebrate deuterostomes. Okay, the learning outcome are you should be able to list two major groups of animals in the deuterostomes. And then you should also be able to identify the major morphological structures of the sea stars, which is an echinoderm. And then you should be able to describe how sea stars move, feed, and reproduce. Okay, two major groups of animals in Deuterostomia or Deuterostomata. The first one is echinoderm, which is it is invertebrates, and then the next one is chordates, which is vertebrates. Only a few chordates are visible as invertebrates. These two groups are closely related because it share the deuterostome pattern of development. Okay, the echinoderm. The echinoderm is primarily bottom-dwelling marine animals. It ranges in size from brittle stars, which is less than 1 cm long, to a giant sea cucumbers, which can reach over 2 meters long. This is the brittle stars, and then these two are giant sea cucumbers. Okay, the next one is the familiar and unfamiliar echinoderm. The familiar echinoderm consists of three, which is Asteroidea, which is the sea stars, and then Holothuroidea, which is the sea cucumbers, and then Echinoidea, which is sea urchin and sand dollar. This is the sea urchin, and then this is the sand dollar. And then the unfamiliar echinoderm consists of two, which is Ophiuroidea, which is brittle stars, and then Crinoidea, including feather stars. This is the picture of feather stars. Okay, morphological structure. It has 5-pointer radial symmetry, which is the sea stars. Their larvae are free-swimming filter feeders with bilateral symmetry. It has an endoskeleton of spiny, calcium-rich plates called ossicles. It also has unique water vascular system that is consisting of canals and appendage. That is function in locomotion, feeds, gas exchange, and sensory reception. Okay, typical echinoderm, which is the sea stars. The classification of the sea star, it is under the kingdom of Animalia, phylum of Echinodermata, and then class Asteroidea. The sea stars can live a relatively long time. Some species, including the sunflower sea star, can live for more than 30 years. This is the sunflower sea star. Next one is sea star can found along a rocky coast. It feeds on clams, oysters, and other bivalve plants. The structure of sea stars. It has a various structure. The first one is it has spines from endoskeletal plates, which is offer the protection to the sea stars. And then it has pincer-like structures, which is around the spines. This is the spines, to keep surface free from small particles. And then it has skin gills, which is tiny finger-like extension. It's used for respiration. And then it has arms that has a groove lined by little tube feet, which is on a oral surface. The movement of a sea stars. Okay, the sea stars has have a water vascular system which is used for movement and predation. First, the water will enter the sea star through a structure on the aborous side called sieve plate or medoporite. This is the medoporite. Then it will passes through a stone canal. Uses a stone canal to a ring canal. This is a ring canal. This like the shape of a ring. Then it will go to a radial canal, which located in each of the sea stars arm. This is the radial canal 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then from radial canal, many lateral canal extend into the tube feet, which has an ampulla. This is the ampulla. And then the contraction of an ampulla forces the water into the tube foot and expanding it. Then when the tube foot are touching the surface, the center is withdrawn and then giving in suction. By alternating the expansion and contraction of the tube feet, the sea star can move slowly along. How sea stars feed? The sea stars position over a bivalve and attach some of its tube feet. It gradually pulls the shell open by working its tube feet in alternation. A very small crack is enough for sea star to evade its cardiac stomach and push it through the crack. The sea star's stomach will secrete enzymes and digestion will begin. Later, partly digestive food is taken into the sea star's body, where the digestion continues in the pyloric stomach. Then a short intestine open at the anus on the arboreal side. This is the tube feet of the sea stars. The digestive glands in the sea stars. They are well-developed xylem contains a pair of digestive glands and gonads in each arm. There is gonad and then digestive gland. It opens on arboreal surface by a very small pores. Then the nervous system consists of a central nerve link which give off radial nerve. Okay. There's a fun fact about sea stars. Sea stars can evade their stomach. This means when they feed, they can stick their stomach outside of their body. So, although the sea star's mouth is small, they can digest their prey outside of their body. Then, this will make it possible for the sea stars to eat a prey that is larger than their mouth. Okay, respiratory of echinoderm. The echinoderm, which is the sea stars, do not have a respiratory or I would say excretory or circulatory system. They rely on diffusion across surfaces in their body. For example, the gas will exchange across the skin gills and tube feet. This is the skin gills, and then at the tube feet. And then example number 2, nitrogenous waste diffuse through the coelomic fluid and the body wall. It's the cilia on the coelom and other structures keep the coelomic fluid moving. Okay, next one is reproduction and regeneration. The sea stars can reproduce both sexually and asexually. For sexually, it's called reproduction. The sea star will spawn and release their eggs or sperm at the same time. The fertilized eggs hatch into a larval form that live as a plankton and sometimes for a month before settling on the sea floor in its adult form. Then for asexually, it's called regeneration. The sea stars have a remarkable ability to regenerate or regrow their arms and tube feet. Each fragment can regenerate a whole animal if a portion of central disc is present. Regeneration of arm is not a fast process. This is the regeneration from Lewis. Then it will get to stars with the reproduction, sexually reproduction. Then bilaterally symmetrical larvae undergo metamorphosis. It is to become radially symmetrical adults. Okay, another fact about sea stars. Marine scientists have undertaken the difficult task to replacing the beloved starfish name with sea star because the starfish is not even a fish, so they replace it with sea stars. Then the sea stars also have eyes. The eyes are located at the tip of their arms, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It helps the sea star to move. Then that's all. This is my reference, and then I will show you the video on how the sea star make sea star started to moving. The male sea stars will move slowly to the female sea stars. So they are the sea stars when they are go through the sexual reproduction. They will spawn and the eggs or sperm will release at the same time. Okay, that's all from me and my group mates. Thank you.